Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? Welcome back to Jets Media. This is Richie, and welcome to the next episode of the series I created here on Jets Media, where we're breaking down each position group on the New York Jets. As you guys know, we've had a lot of special guests on the channel, breaking down the corners, the wide receivers, the O-line, the D-line. There's some positions that we have not done yet, like the safety position, like you guys clicked on this video. We have not done the linebackers or the quarterbacks, so stay tuned for those two videos. But in this one, we'll be talking about the safety position with Jets Today. You guys know him very well on YouTube, and I'm excited to break down the safety position. Before we hop into the video, I just want to mention, if you guys are new to Jets Media, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I got a lot of Jets content coming your way all throughout the offseason, heading into training camp, of course. And if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to like this video. With that being said, let's bring in John from Jets Today into the video. What's up, my man?
How you doing, Richie? Thank you so much for having me on. This is a lot of, this is a long time, coming, and really appreciate it. Looking forward to talking Jets with you, man.
Hell yeah, man. I was on your channel a couple weeks ago, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, recapping the draft. I had a lot of fun, and I said, I got to get you on the channel. So I'm happy it finally happened. You're doing a great job over there, over on your channel. Make sure you guys go check out his YouTube channel down below in the description. If you guys are not subscribed to him, make sure you do so. So let's get right into it, man. We're talking about the safety position. So when you see this graphic right here, what's your overall thoughts of this position group on paper heading into training camp? I think a lot of Jets fans will say that the two position groups that are not the strong suit of this team are both the safeties and the linebackers. So this is what it looks like heading into training camp. So what's your thoughts of the depth heading into camp?
So it's a little bit of a mixed bag. So at the top, I feel fantastic about Jordan Whitehead, and coming off of his triceps injury in 2021, LaMarcus Joyner, there was a lot of buzz from the coaching staff talking about how big of a role he was playing as a leader going into the season last year. And so I think that at the top, the Jets feel pretty comfortable with the veterans that they already have here on the roster. But then after you move on beyond those guys, then it starts to, we start to have some questions. And that's not to say that, Jason Pinnock, who you had mentioned, prior to starting, that's a guy that's starting to, catch some rhythm here and starting to make a name for himself in these practices. So, could he and maybe Ashtyn Davis, take a step forward here, year 2 for Pinnock, and then now year 3 for Ashtyn Davis? Definitely. And there's definitely, that optimism amongst fans. I think that the bigger question is you had mentioned it prior to the show. What happens if one of these veterans goes down, whether it's in training camp or early in the season, kind of like what we had last year? What's going to happen when Pinnock is expected to play a full-time role on this defense? It could be really good, but it could also be one of those scenarios where, it could create some issues in the back end of the defense. But overall, I'm very optimistic. And, as a whole, is this the strongest room on the team? Certainly not. But I think that it's like, we talked about it last year with the cornerbacks. Everybody was talking about how that was going to be one of the weakest position groups on the Jets due to inexperience and, just overall, just so many young players. And they surprised us. They played above what we expected. And so could that happen with the safety room? Why the heck not?
Yeah, and like you said, the depth will be really tested, because last year the depth was tested big time with LaMarcus Joyner going down to week 1, Marcus Maye going down to week 5, I believe. And then, all the guys, it felt like we had 8 to 9 safeties play last year. Let's hope that the health goes our way this year. But I do want to highlight one player to start it off, because this is the big time free agent acquisition. And Jordan Whitehead, he was signed to the New York Jets to do one thing. That is to be a hard-hitting safety that can contain mobile quarterbacks, that can line up in the box, that can be pretty much a versatile Swiss Army knife that can do it all. He's not going to be a top safety in terms of like a Pro Bowl, which you never know, that could happen. I'm not saying that's impossible, but I do feel like this is one of the most underrated free agent acquisitions the Jets got in the entire free agent class, because I actually have one of my buddies from college. He's a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. And when the New York Jets signed this man in Jordan Whitehead, he texted me. He's like, yo, you just got the biggest sleeper of the entire free agency in Jordan Whitehead. Wait till you see what he gets to do. You thought Jamal Adams was awesome. Wait till you see what Jordan Whitehead does when he versus the Buffalo Bills and he destroys Josh Allen. I'm like, wait a second. Tell me a little more about Whitehead. So Jordan Whitehead is a player, 25 years old, line up in the box. He's a ferocious hitter. can actually play good, decent coverage as well. So what's your thoughts
Mhm.
of the Jets going out there and getting their brand new safety in free agency in Jordan Whitehead?
I love the free agent signing. There aren't really that many moves that they've made this offseason that really were disappointing or like head scratching in the moment. I thought this was another one of those moves where I was like, I can definitely see the plan here with Jordan Whitehead. They're certainly bringing him in, as you mentioned, to be that quarterback spot. And I don't think that that can be underplayed. It's Josh Allen certainly is a factor here in the AFC East. But the AFC has a lot of mobile quarterbacks too. Like it's not just versus the Bills.
Lamar
It's
Jackson, week 1.
Lamar Jackson. We still don't technically know what's happening with Deshaun Watson. So if he's playing, he's also mobile. No way of knowing if that's going to end up happening. But if that happens, we got to be able to stop these guys. We got to be able to limit that type of production because it can kill a defense. And so they definitely brought him in with that in mind. And I do have a quote here that I'm going to quickly read through. It was something that I found just recently, and it kind of surprised me because Jordan Whitehead is one of the most versatile players that we have on this team. He played in the Tampa Bay defense. He played at cornerback. He played nickel. He played, in some circumstances, played linebacker in those defenses. Obviously, played safety as well. But this is something that really surprised me. So he said, and this is from Robert Saleh, he said he's going to play one spot and do a handful of things. I'm really excited to see where he can go and when he's asked to do the same thing over and over again. And he continues and says, everyone's different philosophically, but honing in on a position where he can put himself on repeat. We always feel like a guy can maximize and really take his game to another level. So when I read that, to me, it says we don't really want to play him, using him with his, one of his strengths, which is his versatility. And so I guess I'm hopeful that the Jets will see the benefit of being able to move him around as a chess piece and not just limit him to playing safety. There's nothing wrong if they end up doing that. I just kind of feel like they're missing out on one of the big appeals to Jordan Whitehead as we entered free agency. It was his versatility.
Yeah, I agree. I love that quote from Robert Saleh. His versatility is a big time factor, which gets me excited. He can do a lot of things. He was under Todd Bowles. Don't forget that. We know that Todd Bowles is a safety whisperer. We know him very well over here as a New York Jets fan base. But the other player that's expected to be the starter next to Jordan Whitehead, unless Jason Pinnock really rises and starts over him, that's LaMarcus Joyner. He's the veteran. I feel like a lot of Jets fans don't realize how big of a blow it truly was last year to miss this man for the entire season. Robert Saleh said that he is the vocal piece of the entire secondary. He's that veteran that keeps all the glue together. We have a rookie corner in Sauce Gardner going to be starting. DJ Reed, first year with the system. A new safety in Jordan Whitehead. We got to have LaMarcus Joyner being healthy. This is going to be a second year in the system. Mentally, his first year physically playing with the Jets because of that season-ending injury. So I think LaMarcus Joyner coming back is going to do so many good things for this Jets team. I know that some people are kind of rooting for him to not start and they want the young guy like Pinnock to play, which I'm all for. But at the same time, the veteran leadership that LaMarcus Joyner is going to bring to this secondary is going to be tremendous. With that note, though, I want to get your thoughts of Jason Pinnock because last year he transitioned to safety at the end of the season last year. The corners really stepped up in terms of Bryce Hall, Michael Carter II, Brennan Eccles. Like those are the three guys that were playing all the time. And Jason Pinnock didn't really get an opportunity to play there. So they thought, hey, let's transition to the safety and see what we can do. He plays 2 games and all of a sudden we're like, wait a second, do we have a gem in Jason Pinnock at safety? So now this is his first opportunity to actually have an OTA period at safety. Because remember, last year, rookie minicamp, OTAs, training camp, he was lined up at corner. Now, this is his first offseason actually lining up at safety. So he's learning where he needs to be. He's learning the plays. He's learning all the intricacies of the safety position. So what's your overall expectation from Jason Pinnock? Do you think there's any chance that he can be a starter this year? Or do you think he's going to be a guy that if his name is called, he'll come in there and provide an impact?
The ideal scenario for the Jets and for us as fans is clearly that Pinnock plays so good in OTAs and in preseason that it's just his job. Like that would be the outright best scenario because, not only does he offer a little bit more, he's a younger player. So, longer term, he's possibly an answer at the position. But then also he's on a contract. He's on a rookie contract for another 3 years. And so you're talking about a cheap player playing a position that you don't necessarily want to go, buku bucks at that position. You want to You want to try and make sure you're getting your bang for the buck. So overall, my expectations for Pinnock is that he continues to develop. I mean, that's the same thing for guys like Ashton Davis. We want to see these guys trending upward. And, at the end of the day, what do I expect to happen? I expect LaMarcus Joyner to, probably have the job outright to start the year, but there's definitely, the case to be made that Pinnock gets on the football field regardless of who wins that job, the starting role. I think they'll move these guys. They'll be interchangeable in certain setups for the defense. And I'm hopeful, man. I'm hopeful that LaMarcus Joyner can get back on the football field. It's actually been quite a while since he's had a really productive season. I looked at it, I think it goes all the way back to like 2017, 2018 that he's really made some big time plays. And you mentioned it, the leadership that he offers. I think that they even talked, I think I read a quote somewhere. They were talking about how even after his injury, he was a major voice in their safety room. Like that presence didn't go anywhere, even though he was injured, which I think says a lot about the kind of character that he has. And again, obviously the leadership that he offers. So it's very, very important that he's a part of it and that he's able to stay healthy. And then please Ashton Davis and Jason Pinnock just continue to learn. And I think that's the thing, like the development of these guys is on the coaching staff. And I think I put a lot of pressure on them to, obviously like we're not expecting every safety to become major, but like get one of these guys to play meaningful reps on your defense.
Yeah, seriously. I feel like they are in a good situation with two veterans at the top that we're expecting to start in Whitehead and Joyner, and then two people that we got in the last couple drafts, and Ashton Davis entering year 3 and Pinnock entering year number 2 to be the more long-term solution for this franchise. And that brings up to my next point is when you look at this position group for the long-term aspect, in all these videos I've been creating on the position breakdowns, I always ask the same question at each position group and the thoughts of the long-term at this position. So if we look at it, we signed Jordan Whitehead to a 3-year deal, I believe. So he's inked up for the next 3 seasons. LaMarcus Joyner is back for a 1-year deal. Jason Pinnock, he's going to be here for quite a long time. He's got another 3 years of control. Ashton Davis, he has 2 years of control. So the way I look at it is the two young guys, they have potential to be the guys for the future if they really wanted to step up. Jordan Whitehead, he's going to be the strong safety. He's going to be the guy for the next 3 years where he's not going anywhere unless he gets injured, unfortunately. But the guys underneath him and Jason Pinnock and Ashton Davis, those two pieces could potentially be the future of this safety room. Ashton Davis, he's definitely not lived up to the hype. It wasn't really like we were expecting him to be a star or anything. He was a 3rd-round pick. But I feel like last year when his name was called, he actually didn't do that bad. He had 2 interceptions, both against Tua Tagovailoa. He does struggle when it comes to open field tackling and his coverage. He does get beat at times, but I am expecting Ashton Davis to, show an improvement. This is his first time in his career that he's going into the same system. Continuity really matters in this league. And this is the first time in a long time that the Jets are actually having an opportunity to go into year number 2 in the same system, both on offense and on defense. So, the long-term aspect, definitely not the one position like where I'm really optimistic for the future because a lot of unknowns. But I will say, I do feel like at the top, and when it comes to the short term, I like where it's headed. So what's your thoughts of the long-term outlook of this position group?
It's a great question, specifically for this group. So Joyner just re-signed another 1-year contract. So they signed him for a 1-year deal in 2021, and they repeated it. And I believe that it's only a 2.6, overall cap figure for him this year. So they're paying him very, very low salaries. So, the long-term, expectations for him would be, I would be surprised if he was on the roster next season. Assuming that he doesn't go absolutely wild and have a Pro Bowl season, which again, I don't expect that. Jordan Whitehead, I think that, he's only like 25 years old, something like that. I would hope that if he plays well enough and he's consistent on defense, we could try to bring him back. I hopefully, there's no reason to say he can't play until he's 30 years old. So if it's a 2 or 3 year contract, please, like, let's get him back in the mix after his first contract with the Jets. And then you mentioned Ashton Davis. So this is a big, big offseason for him. I think that's kind of obvious to say that. He has to have a really good camp and preseason to not only get on the football field, but also to stay on this roster. They have other guys like Will Parks He's a 6th-round pick from 2017. The guy just will not go away. He's stuck around not only in the NFL, but now with the Jets. Who's to say he won't potentially, take his spot? Like, and Ashton Davis has to do all of the things, I think, in the classroom. Like, he physically has all of those skills. And I think Jason Pinnock is in that conversation too. The mental aspect of the game is so important for them. And knowing, you mentioned, poor open field tackling, the angles that Ashton Davis was taking on ball carriers was not good enough. He has to improve in that area to be able to be on the defense and to be a trusted part of it. So
yeah, I agree. And I also feel like the people at the bottom of the depth chart, guys like Elijah Riley, Will Parks, Tony Adams, Javante Mofat, all these guys are not going to make the roster, but I do feel like guys like Elijah Riley, he didn't play his greatest football last year, but the safety position was so banged up to the point where it felt like there was a new name out there, and Elijah Riley did flash. And Will Parks is a player that has a lot of confidence and a lot of swagger. So if those guys have to play this year, because like we did last year, there's so many injuries, and I'm really hoping that this doesn't happen, but we all know as Jets fans, injuries are a big part to the game. What's your confidence level in Elijah Riley, Will Parks, Tony Adams, and all those guys at the bottom of the depth chart to play if their name is called?
So automatically any injuries, a problem. That's something that teams have to be able to adjust to. And I think that my hope is that they can just come in and be, a functioning part of the defense. They don't necessarily have to make monstrous plays on the field. But again, don't allow big plays, don't make crucial mistakes. And again, I think with a guy like Will Parks and Elijah Riley, guys who are coming back as, second year, I believe, for Will Parks, second year for Elijah Riley. You need these guys to be able to step up. And that's the expectation, I think, that I have for them, not to be huge playmakers, but to be able to, when their name is called, know how to operate in this defense and play smart. I think that's the thing. Play smart and play fast.
Yeah, I really feel like both of those veterans are going to be pivotal roles to the depth of this entire position group if their name is called. Continuity and the mental aspect of the game is very, very important. So, John, I really do appreciate you joining into the show today to give you your inside information on the safety position. I feel like Jets fans, I want to hear your thoughts down below in the comments of the safety group. Is there anybody that really sticks out to you that you feel like we're sleeping on? Do you feel like Jordan Whitehead is going to be a beast for us? Anybody in the bottom of the depth chart you feel like are sleepers? I'm really high on Pinnock. I really feel like he has a chance to do big things this year. I'm a little cautiously optimistic of Ashton Davis. I'm not really expecting him to do anything crazy, but hopefully he will be developing properly. But yeah, man, I feel like the safety room definitely doesn't pop out to you like other position groups on the defense, like the corners or the defensive line. But I do feel like there are some guys out there at the position group that should give Jets fans some excitement heading into the year of 2022. So anything you'd like to say before we end off the video, my man? Pleasure to have you on.
No, thank you very much for having me, and I appreciate it. I'll be keeping my eye on the comments as well, so I will respond, guys. And again, thank you so much for having me. I was just going to throw in there, analytically, Jason Pinnock over the last 3 weeks, the 4th best safety in all of football last year. So circle that. Yeah, that's according to I think it was PFF. So,
right.
If you're not a believer in PFF, then I'm sorry. But, if you're into the analytics, that's pretty exciting. And so there's definitely, reason to be optimistic. And I think the Jets fans should continue to watch and be hopeful for these guys to take that next step. So
yeah, man, Jason Pinnock, he's going to be the star for the Jets, the sleeper. Let's go.
I'm
all on board. I'm all on board. Appreciate you guys. Comment down below a Jet emoji if you stayed to the end, and let's go Jets. Peace out.